Well, hey there, Aletheia Church. Hope that you are doing well, that you are not going crazy in social distancing situations, and that you are enjoying your time on Zoom with your gospel community tonight. Just want to recap our sermon from Sunday for you guys so that you guys can dive in and discuss what we see in Acts chapter 13 together. I said that the second half of Acts chapter 13 that we were looking at this week was going to be the second part of a two-part sermon right on what it means to be empowered to be the church. And we said that we see in the church in Antioch in Acts chapter 13 that they gather with intentionality, and that leads them to be diverse. It means that they take God seriously, that they worship together, they pray together, they study the Word of God together, and that ultimately this intentionality led them to participate in Spirit-empowered mission. And that as they participated in Spirit-empowered mission, they had the opportunity to plant churches and go do things, and that God had given specifically Paul and Barnabas some very specific instructions on going to the Gentiles and planting churches. And so when we get to our text this morning, starting in verse 13 in Acts chapter 13, what we see is that with that Spirit-empowered mission, we see the church preaching a clear message. And I had kind of 3 points that I broke down throughout my sermon on that. That in order to preach a clear message, that we needed to contextualize the message for our audience. And so I would appreciate you guys talking about contextualization a little bit in your gospel communities. We also talked about the need to stay on message and why that's important. And then we also, lastly, talked about the importance of keeping the message centered on Jesus, that it's not about doctrine, in so much as correct theology or whatever else, but that we need to focus our message on Jesus because he's the one who saves. Lastly, we said that what we see out of the church in Antioch in Acts chapter 13 is that as they preach a clear message, they participate in gospel-centered multiplication. That the Gentiles rejoice as they hear the gospel and they're invited into the church family. And as they're invited into the church family, they're engaged, they're encouraged, they're equipped, and they are empowered to be disciples who make disciples. And so we said one of the dreams and the desires that we have for you as leaders here at Aletheia Church is that your pastors have put together a personal discipleship plan for you guys. We want you to be using that personal discipleship plan to set goals for yourself so that you might be growing as a follower of Jesus. We want you to use gospel communities as opportunities to encourage one another and hold one another accountable to those personal discipleship plans. And we want you to use them to help disciple others as well, because that is important. So that I hope tonight, as you guys gather in your groups, as you guys have spent time praying for one another and being with one another, that you have gotten an opportunity to see the beauty of what it means to be the church and gather intentionally, even if it means we have to do so via Zoom. Please stay in contact with one another. Please keep praying and loving on one another. I love you guys. I'm praying for you guys. Go and be the church online and in your neighborhoods. Peace.